Hey, everybody, this morning. Let me just put this out. I'm headed over to a funeral. A friend of mine, his wife's sister passed, and going to the funeral with him. But I was listening to the radio the other day, and I heard somebody talking about, I think it was Steve Harvey, and somebody was on a podcast, and they were talking about manhood and what really being a man is, and he said that there was somebody who disagreed with what they were saying, that being a man had nothing to do with taking care of a woman, taking care of your children and stuff like that. And in the situation that we're in with our young brothers today, there's a lot of that going on. Let me just say it like this, and maybe you'll understand it better. You could be grown and not be a man. You could be a male and not be a man. A lot of brothers have it twisted. They don't believe that you have to come up to the standards of what we identify as manhood to be called a man. I mean, once they figure they 21 or out on their own, they feel like, well, I'm a man. Well, it takes more than just being on your own to be to enter the club or the standard of manhood. And so a lot of the young brothers on the street, and that's some of the reason why we see what we see going on in our country. I just happen to live in New Orleans, and we've been the murder capital for a minute. And this is not the first time that the city of New Orleans has been the murder capital. And it seems like these inner cities are vying for that position as if it's got some prestige to it. They used to kill each other over the color of a bandana. Now they just kill you just because. And I've also seen where the mass shooting, where you're not mad at any particular person. You're not. It's not a revenge. It's not fighting over turf. You just go and kill somebody. And I saw two young brothers. They arrested not long ago, and they asked them, why they killed this person. They said, well, we just felt like killing somebody today. And there's a lot of misconception. There's a lot of mental ailment. Some people call it an ailment, but there's a lot of misconception. They've been taught by thugs and raised by thugs, and they believe that this is the way of life. But we really have to get this issue under control and start re-educating our people, young people. People are they're not being trained. You've got a couple of generations of untrained kids, and that's one of the major issues, the reasons why we have the situation as we have it today. I mean, you can't teach what you don't know. And if you happen to have children and you're not educated, you're not, and I'm not talking about formal education, but if you haven't had training, which the family had the advantage of years ago, where everybody went to Big Mama's house, and the grandparents passed it down to the parents passed it to the children, and they taught them wisdom and knowledge. And you don't have that advantage. You've been taught by generations of ignorance. Then you've really got a problem. You need a paradigm shift. And most people, if you've been taught all your life that, hey, you gotta, don't let nobody hit you, you gotta hit them back, you got to take the first punch, or you gotta, those kinds of things, and that's been instilled in you. It's hard to change somebody's mind once they've been living with this for generations. And that's why you see generational incarceration, because these people have been raised on these situations. I heard a politician, one of ours, a councilman, was talking about the crime situation here in New Orleans, and she skirted around the edges, talking about policing, and policing is needed to a certain extent, but policing is not going to change our culture. We need a code of ethics as a people. We need to realize that we're still brothers, all of us, and we need to establish a code of ethics so that we can advance ourselves once again. I'm going to put this out, and I don't want to be too long, but we are really in dire straits, because they've been saying for the last few years that black man is facing extinction. And when I went to seminary some years ago, that was my topic, the vanishing black man. That's what my thesis was about, because I noticed in the churches that there were more women than men. So just some food for thought, and you can consider. I hope you pass it on to somebody, the information, and realize that what we're dealing with out here, these untrained, uncouth youngsters who have a misconception of what life and how life ought to be, the moral decline in our country, and other forces that are pushing drugs and that are pushing our issues needs to be addressed. And so, like I said, I'm going to be putting out more content in the near future. I have a nonprofit that I formed to help change the trajectory of over 2 million black kids. Not only just black kids, but I'm especially I'm concerned about black people, because those are my people. And I'm not a racist. No, I'm not advocating racism. But when people talk about Buy America, they're not. It's not that we're against other countries, but we are looking out for our own. And when the Jews talk about themselves, or the Asians, or the Italians, they got Little Italy, they got Chinatown, they got everything, but we don't have a black town, or then we've got to start looking out for our own. So having said that, I'm going to be signing off. I'll be talking to you in the near future, but we're going to try to address these issues and try to get some resolution to some of our problems. Y'all be blessed out there.